Before we get started, I want to tell you about my experience with Own It Fitness. Own It Fitness is a place that helped me discover my fitness goals. They did a full evaluation of my physical condition, and they set out a plan for me to be able to meet my goals. And on top of that, they found a way to be able to work with my busy schedule. And they can do that for you as well. Own It Fitness is the perfect place for professionals to find the friends that they need to help them meet their physical goals. If you're looking for a place that can help you, if you're looking for a place that's friendly and a place that will help you confidently meet the physical goals that you have for yourself, then check out Own It Fitness. They're on the corner of Maury and Blakeow. This episode has been brought to you by Fremont Bank. Fremont Bank has been serving people and businesses in our community for over 60 years. For more information about the Fremont Bank, check out episode 104 on the Fremont Podcast. This episode has also been brought to you by Minutemen Press. If you are looking for design or printing needs, reach out to them. Let them know you heard about them on the Fremont Podcast. They'll give you 20% off on your first order. Banter Bookshop is your local go-to for all your reading resources. If they don't have it on the shelf, you can ask them and they can order it for you. Check them out on Capitol Avenue. Let them know that you heard about them on the Fremont Podcast. If you are looking to buy or sell a home, check out Petrocelli Homes on Niles Boulevard. I'm outclassed with my recording gear. You guys have an incredible setup here, and I feel special being here.
Thank you.
This is a great space. But you were talking about different DJs that feature different shows or different channels. There's not really anybody running the program right now. I can hear the radio running.
It's on automation, right?
It's on automation. Okay. So my question is when is this space used? And then also you were mentioning what it seemed to be like remote disc jockeys on different channels and stuff. Where are they located, and how do you channel them into your app or into your station, whatever you're doing?
Coming to you straight from Fremont, California, this is the Fremont Podcast, dedicated to telling the stories of the past and present of the people and places of the city of Fremont, one conversation at a time.
Normally, I make these little episode number stories, and they are totally unrelated to the guest. But we are interviewing a radio station, 1550 AM, and I thought it would be kind of neat to try, unedited, see if I can tune in. I've never tried to do it on this radio, and it's not satellite, and it's not a digital tuner. It's an old radio, so I'm going to have to twiddle in with this plastic knob and just my fingers.
Problem-solving as a whole. Kids are naturally creative. Although some kids may be genetically more talented than others, this can be a learned behavior that can be nurtured from childhood.
Oh, I think I got it. You are listening to episode 118 of the Fremont Podcast.
Now, here's your host, Ricky B.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started, and we'll jump on into this. Yeah, pull that up on you there, and I'm going to see. You came in from Pleasanton. Your drive. What was your name again? Tarish. Neeraj. Okay, got it. Tarish, you came in from Pleasanton today. Yes. How was your drive?
It was good.
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah.
You had a comfortable ride.
I had.
Well, that's good.
He loves driving.
That's right. That's good. So, are you guys? So I'm here in this really cool radio studio right in Fremont on Fremont Boulevard, and I used to live, I don't know, a few blocks from here, and I had my phone. I told you I had my phone fixed across the way a few times. The screen was broken, but I think I walked by this studio a number of times, and I just don't think I paid attention to it. But this is really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. So are you two? You two are co-founders of this radio station.
Yes, in a way, like this particular radio station was reinvented a couple of years back.
Okay,
and that's how it was.
In fact, I'll tell you a little, how it started.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that'd be great.
I used to work for a company in New York.
Okay,
and they used to have multiple businesses about media, entertainment, and broadcast.
Okay,
so they shifted me to Bay Area, and when I landed, I saw there is a lot of opportunities here in Bay Area in terms of Indian, entertainment and media. And then one of my friend who was one of the co-founders of radio station, we thought let's start a radio here because there was a big opportunity, big Indian,
yes,
a lot of Indians here in Bay Area.
Yeah.
So we somehow were able to found one broker who was, getting radio stations for people.
Okay.
So we had a meeting with him, and he said, this market is too small for Indians. I mean, radio.
Here
in Bay Area.
Oh, wow.
We tried to convince him, and somehow he was not convinced.
Huh.
And then eventually one day there was a radio station in Bay Area, and it was streaming Indian, songs. And eventually that station did very well. People were very excited. It got very popular in like a couple of months. We went back to that broker and said, see, we told you there was a big market for Indian radio, and you didn't listen to us. And then he said, then we requested him if you can find something for us. He said, now there is already one station, and I don't think there is market for another station.
Wow.
At that time, we were able to convince him, and he found us this station, 1550.
Okay.
And we started in 2011.
Okay, that's great.
So that's the story. And
I thought the hook on the story was going to be it was this guy right here. And
then what happened?
I joined actually. Like I came on board in 2021. Means everything right now is always Neeraj's baby.
Okay.
He's the brain behind it. Yes, I do come to look at different aspects of it, but and glad that overall this medium of radio has caught up a lot. Mm-hmm. Not just limited to the drive times. We have audiences who actually tune into the radio sitting at home, listening, and that's the reason. The basic reason being that we are able to provide them with a variety of broadcasts, which include shows, entertainment. So it's a combination. It's education, it's entertainment, as well as information.
Yeah. We have so many lawyers on here. We have doctors on here.
Wow.
We have so many CPAs talking about, when the tax season is there, we have so many CPAs talking about giving, advice what to do, what not to do. Like that. And then we have, for kids education, we have like a lot of clients. We have visitor insurance, they're guiding us, when somebody is traveling, because a lot of immigrants are from India.
Right,
and their parents or relatives comes from India. They need a lot of assistance.
Yeah.
So, there is a lot to,
cater to.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was listening to the radio station on my way over here this morning just because I wanted to hear what, you guys do and what I was getting into here. And at first I was listening and I think the music was something that I probably expected, but then we got into the DJ part or all the transition. It sounded like it might have been like a movie trailer or something advertising a movie.
Infotainment.
Okay, all right.
We call it infotainment. It's entertainment plus the information, all both together.
Okay.
So,
well, then all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute, I understand what they're saying. There was some like a bunch of ads that were in English as well. And then there was actually one of the ads was an immigration lawyer talking about like if you need help with family or whatever, then this is what we do, and we've helped hundreds of people. But yeah, I think it's interesting. And I asked this to you before we got started, but how many different languages are there? Because I understood no on the radio station, like what is the language base of the radio station?
I think we cater mainly to the majority of the major languages spread across India. And we try to kind of at least get a bit of a flavor overall, and so that we keep them happy, but not just limited to India. I would say, well, we also try include other South Asian communities, like from people from Pakistan, people from Fiji.
Okay.
For a matter of fact, we've got many RJs who are from Fiji as well. So that is the beauty of it, that it kind of brings everyone on the same platform.
Wow, that's great.
Right now we have like 8+ Indian languages shows on here.
Wow.
Going on. Yes. In India we have like 152 languages.
That's they say they say what do you call someone that speaks 3 languages?
Yes.
Trilingual.
Trilingual.
Yeah, trilingual. Yeah. What do you call somebody that speaks 2 languages? Bilingual. What do you call someone that speaks 1 language? An American, right? I think. Yeah.
Yes, primarily. I want to also add to the earlier comment that a lot of people ask us why AM. Our audiences are not just listening to us or tuning to us for music. Music today is easily available on so many platforms.
Okay.
I think when we talk about radio, the first thing is nostalgia. And the second thing is, of course, there's a radio jockey, somebody who's traveling with you. You're not driving alone,
Yeah.
And a wide percentage of our audience want to listen to talk. Radio is a source for them. It's a local source. It's the local connect. Because there's no other connect for the Indian community or the South Asian community here that caters to them locally. We do have TV stations, but all of the content comes from back home. So while they do enjoy that, what they miss is what's happening in the locals,
I think that's great. That's very, very helpful because I do think that you're exactly right. Radio is a nostalgia media. It is something that I remember. I grew up listening to the radio, and I remember the particular programs that I listened to. There's certain sound bites that they come on. I would know exactly. I mean, it would take me back to my childhood, and so radio is definitely all of those things. I think what's challenging, or what I think is probably challenging, and this is the point that I was making earlier when I was telling the joke, was that I think as an American, it's hard for me to imagine listening to a station or being a part of a community where a radio station would engage in multiple languages on one platform. Like, I feel like for an American, I would listen to an English station, and that's probably all I would listen to. If I think that I don't know what it's like to be in a country where there are 150 languages or where there are different regional languages, and I think that that's something that probably the Indian community is more accustomed to than I'm accustomed to. But it appears that that's something that is also part of that nostalgia. Is that I guess part of the question or what I'm getting at is if you were to go to an Indian station or a radio station in India, is that what you would get? Is multiple languages on one platform, or would you?
Not necessarily.
Oh, not necessarily.
Yeah, so it all depends because out there it could be regionalized. Like you said, over 152 languages across India. And the dialect also changes every few hundred kilometers or maybe 100 miles. Out there, so they have radio stations or the streaming broadcasts directed to a particular audiences, but primarily it would be one regional language and English. But then, thinking broad, I think entertainment or music per se has no
Right.
boundaries.
That's right.
I could groove on to with my two left foot, groove on to any sort of music at least.
Yeah.
It is whether it's American, Spanish, any different parts of India or any music per se. It's the beats that kind of keeps you going.
We'll be right back. You can hear the rest of this conversation in just a moment.
Fremont Bank has been around for 60 years, and they sponsor a lot of stuff. And now, included on the list of things they sponsor, is this podcast. Thank you, Fremont Bank.
I love books, and if you do too, then you're going to love Banter Bookshop. From the moment that you walk in the door, you know that it's a place that cares about providing you, the reader, with exactly what you need. Banter Bookshop carries a large selection of books, and if they don't have what you need, then they can order it for you. Just ask the person at the checkout desk, and they can help you. And if you want to hear more about their story, check out Episode 118 on the Fremont Podcast.
The Ohlone College Flea Market is happening every second Saturday of the month from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Ohlone's Fremont campus. Can I ask you, what are you hoping to find today?
It's just interesting to see what's out there, and you never know what you'll find.
Treasures.
Hey, Van, if people want to contact you, how do they get in touch?
So our phone number is 510-659-6285, and the email is fleamarket@ohlone.edu. More information can be found at ohlone.edu/flea-market.
I want to tell you about Minuteman Press in Irvington. They are your quality printer to go to here in Fremont. I have personally worked with them before, and I find their services to be fantastic. Look no further than Minuteman Press in Irvington. You can find them at 44141 Fremont Boulevard in Fremont. If you need help navigating the local real estate market, contact Petrocelli Homes on Niles Boulevard. With almost 2 decades of experience, this family-owned brokerage is an expert in the local real estate market. Give Jennifer Petrocelli a call. With her wide-ranging knowledge of the real estate industry and expert negotiation skills, Jennifer goes above and beyond for her clients. Jennifer helps her clients make smart real estate decisions that benefit them in the long run. So if you're looking for a realtor who knows what they're doing and who genuinely cares about your needs and wants, reach out to Jennifer today and discover why Petrocelli Homes is the right choice for all of your real estate needs. And now, back to our conversation.
Yes, of course, we try and kind of merge or do it in a way that it's the best way possible, where we bring in the information that's required by the South Asian community together on one platform out here, right?
Yeah. Do you guys, do you find that, what you're doing as far as the bringing the different languages, the different people into one radio station, do you find that to be a challenge for you as far as keeping the audience connected to what you're doing?
Actually, I think it helps the audience, right? Audience loves us for that. Not just limited to, we also do a lot of events, and Seba can also talk more about that. And that is where the communities from different parts, and even many South Asian communities, different parts of the world. So we're trying to build that kind of a platform where we are able to first acknowledge and accept the welcome that we got. A first generation migrant here. We moved back from India, calling this our home, landed in San Francisco 24 years back. Never moved out of here.
Wow. Yeah.
So, but then the people have been so welcoming. My elder kid was 4 when we moved here. My younger one was born here. So it's we got to give back and understand the other communities that we live together with.
That's cool. I would like to say that I can imagine it's a question for you, right?
Yeah.
Okay, it's challenging. But when in India, it's not a question, it's not a challenge. India is a melting pot. It is a culture, it's a combining all the cultures together, all the languages. So it's not sort of new to us or unknown to us.
That's great. That's great. I think that you guys, as co-founders, as producers, I think that you guys probably have to put on a creative hat in order to be able to think that way. I mean, yes, India is a melting pot, and I think probably in a different way, but still similar to the Bay Area. It is a melting pot where people come from all over the world. But I think that in order to be able to produce something that truly reaches people from not just India, but from different places around the world that end up here, being able to really be creative and to think through how do we reach more broadly as opposed to like just more narrowly. I think that you guys have to put on different creative hats to be able to do that.
Obviously, it's a place. Radio is a thing where we have to think every day what different we should do. I'll give you a very good example. When COVID happened, there were no traffic on the roads. So we thought, what should we do? The business went down and even the listenership went down because there are no cars. So then we came up with an idea that, people are at home. So instead of going on air on 1550 AM, we should look for an alternative where people can see us. So that's how the idea started. So we started the concept radio. You cannot only listen, you can also see us.
Okay.
So then we started live on Facebook, live on Instagram. Okay. So that's how, you see all these gadgets here. Yeah. Now from our studio, anyone can see you anywhere in the world sitting, anywhere.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
So we made this radio not only, you can listen to us on 1550 AM, you can also listen to us on Instagram, on Facebook, all different,
And adding on to it, so another I would say Indians, we take pride in moving in from being called a country of snake charmers to people who work with the mouse, right? So more in the technology side, right?
That's right. Yeah, that's good.
So we've controlled that. One of the world leaders in the technology side. So what we did was also launch an app where all their different channels which is streamed onto your palm, right? So most of the I think we have over 11 channels that are streamed on our Radio Zindagi app.
Wow.
You could download and stream different genre of music nonstop.
Wow.
Where they're people like the elderly, they want to they like more devotional, or there is a North Indian or a South Indian or ghazals, which is a different form of music, hip hop or the country music, whatever you want to do. We've got 11 different streams which you could, and ever growing as well. So we took the technology part of it and kind of merged that into our overall radio. So radio is not just that the frequency that's aired off the towers. We also utilize the power of Facebook, Insta, or other live channels.
Okay.
Where we become more interactive, but also reach out to the audience wherever they are. So it kind of it delimits us with the coverage area. So people, 1550 Bay Area could also be listened to not just in any part of U.S. You could go to your birthplace, which is Baltimore, you said?
Yeah, Baltimore's where I moved from before coming here. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Or South Carolina.
Yep.
You could listen to that out there, Rick, or you could be sitting anywhere in the world and listening to the broadcast. So that is where we moved out of.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, this is really cool to me. I mean, we're sitting in a very, very... I'm outclassed with my recording my recording gear. You guys have an incredible setup here, and I love. I feel special being here.
Thank you.
This is a great space. But you were talking about different DJs that feature different shows or different channels. There's not really anybody running the program right now. I can hear the radio running.
It's on automation, right?
It's on automation. Okay. So my question is when is this space used? And then also you were mentioning what it seemed to be like remote disc jockeys on different channels and stuff. Where are they located, and how do you channel them into your app or into your station, whatever you're doing?
So, sorry, Neeraj.
So let's, Seba, you answer this.
Right. All right. So it's a mixture of things, Ricky. We do have a production office in India. A lot of our shows are also packaged and produced in India, and those are the filler shows. And when I say filler shows, I mean the non-drive time, because the focus is to have local content during the drive time hours. So if you look at the morning 7 to 10 a.m., which is your prime morning drive time going to work, it is being done by local radio jockeys who come to office. They are not employed full-time. They are basically part-time.
Okay.
They come in for the show. So they come in at the time of the show. So like Neeraj said, it looks like it's fun and it's vibrant, and if you see our reels and videos, it looks like, oh, everybody's just having fun. But honestly, every second on radio is programmed, it's managed, it's planned way back, like 2 weeks in advance.
Wow.
You can imagine the kind of coordination it needs with so many teams, local and remote, to bring everything together into the radio as one product.
Wow, that's amazing. So I'm curious if you have all these different people that you have come in. You said doctors, lawyers, different people that have different shows. Have you, as you started to explore the different people to have in to talk or to be a part of your radio station broadcast, has there been something that you have invited, maybe a person that you've invited in, that once you had them in, you were surprised at the response or the listenership that has developed from that particular person? So in other words, maybe you thought, let's give this particular, a teacher or a lawyer a shot at coming in and doing a show, and then you're like looking at the metrics thinking, wow, I did not think that was going to get the attention that it did, but it seems to be something that's really catching on. And in other words, I find that the Bay Area is a place that's always reinventing itself. And I think you kind of always have to be reinventing yourself if you're going to stay with it. And so I'm just wondering if there's things that you guys have experimented with, or shows that you've experimented with that you've found to be surprisingly successful.
About 10 years ago when we started with radio, we had a doctor who, the initial idea was to do a show around health and medicine. But he turned out to be such a great contributor because his language skills were great, his poetic skills were great, his Bollywood knowledge was great. So it became such an entertaining show, not just an informational show, but truly an all-rounded entertaining and informational show. That show really took us by surprise, and we had a lot of listeners. There were times when, we had to play an archive show when people immediately call and recognize that, this is an archive show, that means the doctor is not in office. He was an amazing personality.
One of the things that you said is that you had, for instance, a doctor come on, and you thought that the information that he might give on the show might be a contributing element to the listenership, but then you found that the way he talked and his ability to communicate, his poetic speech and all those things were very, very, or even more drawing to your particular audience. One of the things that I tell people, and I didn't say it here, but I typically will say to people before we start our interview, is that I'm more interested in stories than I am in data. Because I said this is an audio it's an audio medium.
Correct.
And so people, they don't have the opportunity of other senses like visual or, interactive senses to be able to stimulate them. They need to be able to be stimulated by what they hear, and stories stimulate the imagination. The imagination is what is the biggest tool that we have on our side. And so we need to be able to stimulate the imagination without all the data. And I think that's what you guys are saying as well, that has proven to be true. The people, not just the people who have all the knowledge, but the people that know how to communicate what they know and how they know in a way that really, really captures the listener.
Correct. And as a radio station, we also have a responsibility to, give back to the community.
That's right.
So, in fact, when, we had a meeting, a few years back that we only are into radio, let's do something for the community now. So then we came up with an idea, let's do some events which bring culture back to Bay Area, because there are so many kids who are born here, doesn't know much about India. There are a lot of people here doesn't know much about India. So we came up with an idea and we bought an event called Ganeshotsav.
Okay.
I would like to, request Ariji to talk about that event.
Let's hear that.
Which is our, annual event now.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest in Bay Area.
Okay. Wow. Let me hear about this.
Yeah. So Ganesh, Ganesha is a god that is, I'm sure you would remember him more as an elephant god.
Okay.
And he's supposed to be the one who's like the first to be worshipped, and that event is celebrated majorly across all of India.
Okay.
So what we found was like we have different temples, different places where people do some part of it, but it does not bring together the community at large, bringing them together.
Okay.
And closer. And also looking at the grand overall scope of events that's supposed to be done at this particular event. And that's where Neeraj and his team got together. I think it's the 8th.
Today is
10th year they're saying? Yes.
50.
No, but we were not able to do it for 2 days. Well, yeah. 1 year because of COVID.
Right.
We had to scale it down.
Okay.
10th year, we have Ganesha's idol, which is almost about 16 feet of the idol, and spread over 2 days.
Okay.
Weekend. We get a crowd of almost about 50,000 visitors at the very minimum.
Wow.
One of the biggest event in the area.
Where is this held?
So we started, first we wanted it to be floating.
Okay.
The first year we started at New Park Mall. Then the year next we went to Milpitas.
Okay.
Then the year after we were at the Great America Parkway. Then we went to South San Jose. Then we came back to ICC, and then we brought it back into New Park Mall. And this year again, it's a 2-day event in September.
Okay.
Which is going to be held at the New Park Mall towards the AMC side.
Okay.
So we take the entire parking lot there.
Wow.
There are at least hundreds of booths where not just the cultural part. See, it's about the entertainment. It's about bringing the kids, the second or the third generation kids, bringing them closer to the culture.
Okay.
Which the parents or the grandparents would so want. So we try to bridge that gap for them. And they're happy because their cultural performances, their kids getting involved. There are different
1,500 plus participants.
Correct. Right. And
wow, that's
so
crazy.
All packed in. It's power pack performances. Energy is super, super high. The teams, especially Seba. Seba has a close bond with this particular event because she comes from Maharashtra, Mumbai, where this is the most, it's celebrated at the grandest level.
Okay.
You could even imagine.
Yeah.
And Seba puts in endless hours of work trying to make it happen. And
so this particular event is something that you guys started.
Yes,
and
in the Bay Area.
In the Bay Area, and this is something that you guys have grown and just done better and better every year.
Oh yes,
that's amazing.
It keeps getting better and better year on year, and different challenges and different solutions to that.
It is interesting because I think you can be the stereotypical radio station or whatever it is. I could be the stereotypical podcast in some ways, and there's different ways that you can just kind of do things the way that everybody else does it. But I do think you have to analyze the local community, the audience that you're connecting with, and you have to figure out what it is that they, what are the challenges or what are the topics that are coming up where you are. That may not exist anywhere else, but they exist here. And two things. So one of my more recent episodes that I had on the podcast, I think it was 2 weeks ago, it came out. There was a lady who's an actress and a filmmaker who wanted to talk about abuse in the home and that sort of thing, and the community that she's from is an Indian community, and so she also, coming to the United States, really wanted to create something that maybe connected with people that they wouldn't necessarily receive that sort of like attention or that sort of empathy, in other places. But that, if you become aware of like the type of abuse that's in our community, it's not just tied to one particular community. It's tied to you find it everywhere, And so I think that what she did was she found something that was something that she had gone through personally, but then she found a way to communicate that would span a bigger audience across a variety of people. One that kind of touches to what you guys have been talking about, which I like. I don't remember what episode it was, but I think it had to have been over a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. I interviewed a kid. I say a kid. Right now he's in college. He's probably out of college now, but he grew up here in Fremont, and he's a second-generation Indian immigrant. So his parents moved here, and then he grew up here. And then he wanted to go and become a filmmaker. So I actually interviewed him over. I don't interview most people on Zoom. I like to do it in person since it's a Fremont-based podcast. If I can't get there, I want to kind of do that there. But anyway, he was in school at in NYU in New York City, going to school for filmmaking. And the film that he was doing for his main project was on what it was like to grow up in Fremont as a second-generation Indian immigrant. So he wrote this film that he also came back to Fremont and recorded, filmed it, and produced it here. It was called Dreamline. Wow. And it was his journey as somebody who was from an Indian family but did not grow up in India, did not have all the culture and all the other things in his life firsthand, had to experience it through the lens of his parents, being involved in no doubt, I'm sure if we were to talk to him, he'd probably been to your festival or your big event that you've had growing up. But he wanted to write this movie and produce this movie about what it was like growing up as a second-generation immigrant, trying to learn and adapt to the culture of his parents who grew up in India. And so in some ways you guys are really tapping into, this is something that's unique here. It's you, and I'm not saying it's not unique somewhere else in the United States, like New York or wherever we have a lot of other immigrants, coming together from a particular area. But I do think that what you do and how you analyze the local audience here is going to be different than what you might get in another melting pot in a different country or even in a different part of the United States. And so I think what I'm hearing from you guys is really great. Like, I think it's really cool to hear, because even on my street, I was telling you earlier that most of the people who live on my street are from India. Matter of fact, I could probably remember them going to your festival or your event because they all got dressed up and they were all headed out, and they were like, "This is the biggest event in the Bay Area." I had no idea what they were talking about, but they must have been going to that particular event. And we've worked really hard to try to. I've worked really hard to try to get to know them and get to know your culture through my interaction with them as well. But these are all things that are very, very helpful, and I think that you guys thinking through all these things in the way that you are is really, really good for our area.
Thank you.
And that's why I think the music is important, but talk's important too, because it's through talk that we can advocate change. It's through talk that we can open dialogue, and it's through talk that we can bridge this cultural divide, right, and make that gap smaller and smaller. So talk is really important to us.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. What were you going to say?
I was talking about, you were talking about that domestic violence thing. So, in fact, we, a few years back, we found that there are a lot of cases happening in Bay Area, especially in our community. So we approached a non-profit organization who was helping these people, and they came up with an idea. They started giving us stories of different people. So the idea was not only to get those stories on air, but the idea was that through those stories we can educate people. You are not alone.
Yeah.
There are people who are ready to help you if you are in that situation.
That's good.
So, we only don't think commercially. We also think, that we have a responsibility towards,
That's right.
people.
Yeah.
To, give them, educate them with different things.
Well, I can totally sense that. You guys are about making sure that this is a successful business, but I think in some ways I can already feel it from you guys that the reason you want this to be such a big success is for the betterment of the community, to make the community a better place.
This is all about community.
Yeah.
And also try get an acceptance to, from different parts. So no community, no sub-community in a society be left out.
Yeah.
So we try get them involved one place and another. What Neeraj mentioned was we wanted to get that word out about domestic violence so that at least, people are not left alone. They have a friend in need when they need it to be. And that's what Seb also mentioned about voices. I think we covered one part of the broadcast was dedicated to DV as well.
That's great. I love it. Well, this is really cool. If people wanted to know more information, I guess they could probably find you guys on social media as well as website.
Yeah, Radio Zindagi.
Okay.
Everyone, especially in our community knows us, but for other people who doesn't know us, you can log on to www.radiozindagi.com.
Okay.
And we are on social media too. We are on Instagram. We are on Facebook. Very active. Now, not only through radio you can listen to us. You can listen to us through app also.
Yep.
You can see all our podcasts, on our Facebook too.
That's great.
Yes.
That's great.
Rick, I just wanted to add on. I think for most of us do know the meaning of Radio Zindagi. Radio, obviously radio, but Zindagi is life.
Okay.
Right. So that's why we say that.
That's cool.
And that's why a tagline is Radio Zindagi GHR. It's like GHR means live. Live your life.
That's great.
So that's very important. Like breathing is not just living. Ensuring that you're able to do what you want to be able to enjoy each and every moment.
That's great.
And that's how you live.
That's great. That's great. I love
Seba, any departing?
No, I just want to say thank you so much. Sometimes it's just nice to hear your own thoughts about your own product.
I completely understand that. I think sometimes, you ask me what is the Fremont podcast, or tell me a little bit about it before we get started. And I do say a lot of the same things, but then I find myself, maybe I've thought about it a little bit differently, or I met somebody and we had a conversation about it, and then it just verbalizing it allows me to be able to express maybe a different facet of it that I don't normally think about or that I don't normally say. So I do think it is helpful, especially when you're on the back end of things. You guys are the ones behind all of this, making it happen. I think that sometimes I'll back up just a little bit and I'll say this. I've had moments, especially recently, where I just wanted to give up on the podcast because I'm just like it's a lot of work. It's not my main thing, and I think chasing down sponsors and for trying to find the financial support and just all the other support that I need. I have an incredible team. I have 2 that work with me, and they schedule and they edit and they do all that stuff. But it's just sometimes it's just a lot of work, and sometimes you're like, I just want to call it quits. It was a good run, we had over 100 episodes, but then you run into somebody. And they're like, I heard your episode, and it changed me. It did this and this and this for me. And you're just like, oh my goodness! Like if everything I did was to help that one person, it feels like it was worth doing. It was worth it. Yes. And so I imagine with you guys, even like on various parts, all the contributions that you give to make this a reality. I'm sure there's times where it's just like exhausting, and this is a lot of work. But I can see where you guys get the feedback from people. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then it just kind of spurs you on to do more and to do better. And even having the conversation now, getting you guys all together in the same conversation to be able to hear you and say, yeah, this is why we're here. This is what we're doing, and this is why we're doing it. I think that's really good.
Very true.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you all.
We have a lot of listeners who feel that way.
What's that? Say that again.
No, I said we have a lot of listeners, who exactly what you said, right? I mean, when they call in, like almost into every show, or they participate in our, different things that we do, whether it could be a raffle or a contest, or just call in and tell us your views. I mean, we realize some of these listeners take us so seriously. They listen to us every day. It's almost like a lifeline for them, And then just one parting thing was that, music today is available everywhere easily, right? You can have your own list, right? Like your music.
Yeah.
But when there's a radio jockey, you're listening to radio, you're driving your car, and there's a song that comes up which is not on any of your lists, but it's a beautiful song. It's something you loved maybe long ago, maybe when you were growing up, and when you listen to that song, and it brings up those memories, it transforms you back in that space and time. The beauty of that is just unmatchable. That nostalgia is amazing. So sometimes it's nice to listen to music that is curated by someone else, because it might have a little meaning in there for you.
I like that.
Yeah, and to end, I will tell you one good story.
I want to hear it. Yeah.
Yeah. So a few years back, we got a call, and a lady, she used to call in every show. And we were doing, I don't remember exactly what was the show about, but she started sharing her, life story. She said, I was about to end my life. I was so frustrated. I was alone. And suddenly I started listening to the Radio Zindagi. And the way the RJs responded to me, I thought I got a family in Bay Area. And she used to call in every show. And every RJ used to, talk to her and, give her some advice, or, she used to, talk about, what she's thinking today. And because of and she used to demand a lot of songs, what she wants to listen. And she said, my life changed. And that because of Radio Zindagi, I'm alive now.
That's great.
So, I mean, even if we can contribute to one life.
Yeah. That's great.
I think we are done.
That's great. I loved it.
And it's truly worth it.
Yes, truly worth it.
Well, thank you guys. Thank you all for being part of this podcast. I'm excited to be able to share this episode with our community. And thanks for taking the time to be here with me.
Thank you, Rick, for all and good luck for and best wishes for all the wonderful work that you've been doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'd love to invite you as a guest on one of our shows.
I would love that. It would be my honor to do that. So yeah, whenever you have something open, or when you have an idea, let me know, and I'd love to try to make that happen.
Thank you, Ricky.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This episode was hosted and produced by Ricky B. I'm Gary Williams. Scheduling and pre-interviews by Sarah S. Be sure to subscribe wherever it is that you listen so you don't miss an episode. You can find everything we make, the podcast, and all of our social media links at thefremontpodcast.com. Join us next week on the Fremont Podcast.
I just wanted to give up on the podcast because I'm just like it's a lot of work. It's not my main thing, and I think chasing down sponsors and for trying to find the financial support.
Please consider donating $1 a month on a reoccurring basis to help this podcast that you enjoy. buymeacoffee.com/thefremontpodcast/membership.
This is a Muggins Media podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Fremont Podcast. If you are an individual or a business that would like to be a sponsor partner on the podcast, please reach out at thefremontpodcast@gmail.com, or you can go to our website, thefremontpodcast.com, and you can reach out to us through our contact form. Thank you for listening, thank you for sharing, and thank you for your support.